In the previous video titled Introduction to Piaget's Contribution to Educational Psychology, we have mentioned Piaget's 4 stages of cognitive development. In this video, we will discuss it in details and let's begin. The first stage is sensorimotor stage. The infant learns about the world through their sense and through their movements. In this stage, a child focuses on what they see, what they are doing, and physical interactions with their immediate environment. Because they do not yet know how things react, they are constantly experimenting. They shake or throw things, put things in their mouth, and learn about the world through trial and error method. During the sensorimotor stage, a range of cognitive abilities develop. These includes object permanence, self-recognition, deferred imitation, representational play. Between ages 7 and 9 months, infant begins to realize that an object exists even though they can no longer see it. This important milestone known as object permanence is a sign that memory is developing. Piaget believed that developing object permanence or object constancy, the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be seen, and it was an important element at this point of development. If child cannot see something, then it does not exist. This is why we can hide a toy from an infant while it watches, but it will not search for the object once it has gone out of sight. After infants start crawling, standing, and walking, their increased physical mobility leads to more cognitive development. Near the end of sensorimotor stage, self-recognition develops. It signals the emergence of sophisticated levels of self-awareness. Next, deferred imitation, the ability to reproduce a previously witnessed action or sequence of actions in the absence of current perceptual support for the action. That is a child mimicking their parents by dressing, cooking dinners, by playing with pots and pans and pretending to cook, creating a room to look just like a room picture in a decorator's magazine. Now, representational play. The child begins to able to store information that it knows about the world, recall it and label it. Child begins to recognize and appreciate symbols that represent objects or events. That is, childs are engaged with toys in the environment in a symbolic manner that represent real pupils, actions and life. Now, parenting tips. Talk to your child frequently, try repeat behavior they enjoy. Provide a range of activities that involve the 5 senses which help them develop their sensory abilities. Teach sensory discrimination and organize simple object permanence play like peek-a-boo. Encourage for tactile play like encouraging them to pour empty bowls, make music, sounds, or drawing or throwing balls. Provide environmental stimulation by offering your child toys with different textures, fabrics, shapes, size, and colors. Give activities that encourage movement like stretching, reaching, crawling, and grasping. Give soft and board books with flap, pop-ups, 3D image, and scenes. Select various fun activities that make sound, like bells, play pots and pans, whistle, and don't forget to supervise them. Now, pre-operational stage. During this stage, child build on object permanence and continue to develop abstract mental process. This means that they think about things beyond the physical world, such as things that happened in the past. They also imagine and think symbolically, and they begin to display this ability through their language and behavior. Piaget argues that a language does not facilitate cognitive development but merely reflects what the child already knows and contributes little to new knowledge. He believes cognitive development promotes language development, not vice versa. Some of the key behaviors children display during these periods are symbolic representation. This is the ability to make one thing, a word or an object, stand for something other than itself. Language is perhaps the most obvious forms of symbolism that young children display. Pretend play or symbolic play. Pretending is a favorite activity at this time. A toy has a qualities beyond the way it was designed to function, and can now be used to stand for a character or object unlike anything originally intended. A teddy bear, for example, can be a baby or the queen of a faraway land. Piaget believed that children's pretend play helped children solidify new schemata they were developing cognitively. This play then reflected changes in their conceptions or thoughts. However, children also learn as they pretend and experiment. Their play does not simply represent what they have learned. Imitation. Children can now mimic another person's accent even if the individual they are modeling is no longer in front of them. Drawing. Imagination and symbolic play are both essential elements of drawing. It begins as meaningless scribbles and progresses to more accurate representation of objects and people. Mental imagery. Children start to visualize a wide range of things in their mind. They may ask the names of objects frequently to establish associations between words and objects. Verbal evocation of events. This means children can use words to describe and represent past events, people, or items. Language development. The primary function of speech at this age is to externalize thinking rather than for communication. Children may talk in a stream of consciousness and develop more sophisticated language skills as they move through this stage. Egocentric. Piaget believed that children remain egocentric throughout the preoperational stage. This means they cannot understand that other people think in different ways to them, or that events that takes place are not always related to them. As for example, 10 years old Sahana's birthday is coming up. So her mom takes 3 years old Asif to the toy store to choose a present for his sister. He selects an Doraemon figure for her, thinking that if he likes the toy, his sister will too. Animism. Animism refers to attributing lifelike qualities to objects. The cup is alive, the chair that falls down and hits the child's ankle is mean, and the toys need to stay home because they are tired. Cartoons frequently show objects that appear alike and take on lifelike qualities. Young children do seem to think that objects that move may be alive, but after age 3, they seldom refer to objects as being alive. Artificialism. This is the belief that certain aspects of the environment are manufactured by people, as for example, clouds in the sky. Irreversibility. This is the inability to reverse the direction of a sequence of events to their starting point. For example, a child at this stage who understands that adding 4 to 5 yields 9 cannot yet perform the reverse operation of thinking 4 from 9. Understanding conservation. In one conservation experiment, equal amount of liquid are poured into two identical containers. The liquid in one container is then poured into a differently shaped cup such as tall and thin cup or a short and wide cup. Children are then asked which cup holds the most liquid. Despite seeing that the liquid amounts were equal, children almost always choose the cup that appeared fuller. Thus, the child is using one dimension, height, as the basis for his judgment of another dimension or volume. Piaget conducted a number of similar experiments on the conservation of number, length, mass, weight, volume, and quantity. He found that few children showed any understanding of conservation prior to the age of 5. Now, parenting or teaching tips. Parents can talk, sing song, or recite to encourage child's noise identification or language development. Play alphabet game for symbol identification. Try a simple geometry lesson asking learners to choose like and different qualities of shapes. Engaging in discussion or interactions with the children may engender the children's discovery of the variety of ways to group objects, thus helping the children think about the quantities in novel ways. Parents or teachers may ask various questions which help them to become problem solver, understand how his surroundings work. Parents or teachers can arrange for outing and trips, play fun game, exercise and sports. Design a specific learning goal or object, such as student learning to count to 10 by themselves, or child recognizing written numerals. Make a bulleted list of material and numbered list of steps. Set up a hands-on number lesson in which group of toys or other objects represent numbers such as 5 cards, 3 apples, or 7 pieces of chalk. The third stage is characterized by remarkable cognitive growth, when children's development of language and acquisition of basic skills such as conservation, reversibility, logical reasoning accelerate dramatically. The basic characteristics of concrete operational stage are classification. There are two parts of classification. One is sorting things into categories. The child already groups flowers and animals into two separate categories. At this stage, they can go one step further. They understand that there are subclasses within a group, like yellow and red flowers, or animals that fly and animals that swim, numbers like odd number, even number, prime number, etc. Conservation. Conservation is the understanding that something stays the same in quantity even though its appearance changes. This can apply to aspects such as volume, number, area, length, etc. While discussing the understanding of conservation in pre-operational stage, in this example, children are asked which cup holds the most liquid. In the pre-operational stage, children are generally unable to answer correctly, but at concrete operational stage, they can understand the concept properly. If at this stage they are asked after showing two sticks of equal length, then moving one stick which is longer, they will be able to answer that both are equal. Hence, at concrete operational stage, the concept of conservation develops. Decentration involves the ability to pay attention to multiple attributes of an object or situation rather than being locked into attending to only a single attribute. For example, if a child's favorite hobby is riding a cycle, it would not necessarily mean that the people around them also prefer cycling instead of riding bike, fishing, gardening, or playing. Reversibility. This involves an understanding that action can be reversed, sort of like mental gymnastics. During this stage, a child understands that his or her favorite ball that deflates is not gone and can be filled with air and put back into play again. Another example would be that the child realizes that a ball of clay once flattened can be made into a ball of clay again. Seriation. It is all about mentally sorting a group of things into some sort of order. In this stage, children can sort from the tallest to the shortest or the thinnest to the widest. Sociocentricity. This means that the children is no longer egocentric and fully focused on themselves. In this stage, they are able to understand that mom, dad, siblings have their own thoughts, feelings, and timetables. Understanding logic. Piaget determined that children in the concrete operational stage were fairly good all the use of inductive logic, that is inductive reasoning. Inductive logic involves going from a specific experience to a general principle. An example of inductive logic would be noticing that every time we are around a cat, we have itchy eyes, a runny nose, and a swollen throat. We might then reason from the experience that we are allergic to cats. On the other hand, children at this stage have difficulty using deductive logic, which involves using a general principle to determine the outcome of a specific event. For example, a child might learn that A equal to B and B equal to C, might still struggle to understand that A equal to C. Now, parenting and teaching tips. As a parent, ask them about their friends and teachers. Set up a routine, set ground rules, plan for a short trip to various educational places, historical places, museum, etc. Grow their interest in writing stories, reciting, drawing, playing music, sing song, gardening, and help them to cook. Teachers must use hand-on experiences, and multiple ways of representing a mathematical solution can be ways of fostering the development of this cognitive stage. This hands-on experience will make abstract ideas concrete and plays a very useful tool for problem solving. Use different kinds of manipulative material such as pattern blocks, cushionary rods, algebraic tiles, algebraic cubes, geoboards, tangrams, counters, and dice and spinners. Use paper folding and cutting activity, engendering opportunities for students to present mathematical solutions in multiple ways. For example, symbols, tables, and words. Hence, it is one of the tools for cognitive development in this stage. While a specific way of representing an idea is meaningful to some students, a different representation might be more meaningful to others. Organize simple word puzzles, logic puzzles, and problem solving tasks to help children's cognitive development. The formal operational stage is the fourth and final stage in Piaget's theory. It begins at approximately 11 to 12 years of age and continues throughout adulthood. This stage is characterized by the ability to formulate hypotheses and systematically test them to arrive at an answer to a problem. In this stage, students should be able to arrange items in a logical order, build friendship based on empathy, play games, do science experiment. Now we will discuss about some important characteristics of this stage. Deductive logic. Piaget believed that deductive reasoning becomes necessary during the formal operational stage. Deductive logic requires the ability to use a general principle to determine a particular outcome. Science and mathematics often requires this type of thinking about hypothetical situations and concepts. Children start developing deductive reasoning, which refers to the process of moving from specific observations to generalizations. In this stage, children also start understanding that the rules of a game are developed by mutual agreement. Abstract thought. Concrete operations are carried out on things, whereas formal operations are carried out on ideas. The individual can think about hypothetical and abstract concepts they have yet to experience. Abstract thought is important for planning regarding the future. Instead of relying solely on previous examples, children begin to consider possible outcomes and consequences of actions. This type of thinking is important in long-term planning. Teens start thinking about issues such as moral, social, ethical, political, and philosophical issues. Problem solving. In earlier stages, children used trial and error to solve problems. During the formal operational stage, the ability to systematically solve a problem in a logical and methodological ways emerges. Children at the formal operational stage, cognitive development are often able to plan quickly an organized approach to solving a problem. Hypothetico-deductive reasoning, and it is the ability to think scientifically through generating predictions or hypotheses about the world to answer questions. The individual will approach problems in a systematic and organized manner rather than through trial and error. They often ponder what if type situation and questions and can think about multiple solutions or possible outcomes. Children develop what is known as metacognition, or the ability to think about their thoughts as well as the ideas of others. Now, parenting and teaching tips. Promoting an engaging home environment where there is a room for abstract thoughts. Develop critical thinking skills. Fostering children's interest in gardening, cooking, and social works. Watch educational movies with them. Go for a vacation or plan trip for different historical and geographical places. Do science and mathematical experiment with them. Arrange science and cultural fair in school. Teachers must try to organize science and mathematics club for them. Teach basic computer skills to children. The teacher must play board games, ask convergent and divergent questions, answer their questions logically, and try to make their interest in reading storybooks, writing, drawing, reciting, singing, etc. The students must perform in drama or different cultural activities in schools. Make a chance to play the role of a class monitor or role of a leader. So this is all about Piaget's 4th stage of cognitive development. The school curriculum must be formulated according to these developmental changes. Now try this.